Have you ever stood in the beverage aisle just staring at a wall of virtually identical products and wondered, why exactly am I reaching for this specific bottle? Well, today, we are exploring the fascinating illusion of choice. We're going to dive into a brilliant and highly captivating case study that perfectly illustrates how intangible feelings translate into concrete consumer loyalty. And we're doing it by looking at the Thai economy beer market.
Seriously, why do you choose one brand over another? We are going to solve this mystery of consumer choice by examining what is honestly a cutthroat, highly taxed, and fiercely competitive environment. Welcome to the Thai economy beer battlefield. This is a place where the actual liquid inside the bottle is often secondary to the psychological warfare of corporate branding.
So here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, the Thai beer battlefield. Then, unpacking brand equity. Third, the five-factor model. After that, crowning the beer king. And finally, the power of brands.
Part 1. The Thai beer battlefield. Now, the beer market in Thailand is absolutely not for the faint of heart. The government imposes a standard 30% corporate tax, plus heavy excise taxes, which recently saw a staggering 55 to 58% increase. Combine that with strict advertising limits and legal age restrictions, and what you get is an economic environment where every single customer is a hard-fought victory. The competition is just fierce. To understand this battle, we really need to meet our three heavyweight contenders. First up, we have Chang, packing a 6.4% alcohol punch and marketed specifically toward the quote-unquote Thai taste. Then we have Leo. This is a smooth 5% beer that famously disrupted the whole market with an incredibly aggressive 3 for 100 baht price strategy. And this wasn't just a discount, it was a psychological disruptor in a highly taxed environment. It anchored the brand as the ultimate value play in the minds of consumers. Finally, we have the newcomer, Cheer. Sitting at 5.6%, it's positioned as an affordable international quality beer. So those are their unique weapons in the battle for dominance. But how do these companies actually win when their products are at the end of the day pretty similar? Let's move to part 2, unpacking brand equity. Okay, so brand equity is defined as the set of assets and liabilities linked to a brand's name and symbol that add to or subtract from a product's value. But please, don't let this dry academic term fool you. This isn't just theory, this is real capital. It is the ultimate competitive power that gives a company its edge and lets them sell products in a super crowded marketplace. And it's really crucial to pay attention to that word liabilities here. Brand equity isn't just about positive recognition. A scandal, a bad taste profile, or even just a confusing logo can literally subtract value, forcing a company to work twice as hard just to break even in the consumer's mind. Part 3, the 5-factor model. To effectively evaluate our 3 beers, researchers focused on the consumer's view of brand equity across 5 specific pillars. By measuring these psychological features, researchers can figure out exactly who is winning the beer wars and exactly why they're winning. Let's break down these 5 pillars, and honestly, the best way to understand this is through an analogy we can all relate to: dating. First is awareness, basically getting noticed across a crowded room. A brand achieves this through sheer marketing force, making sure you know they exist before you ever even think about buying. Second is liking, that absolutely crucial first impression. It's about building a positive attitude through sleek packaging or messaging you relate to. Third is purchase intention, the willingness to actually go on the first date and make the leap, trading your hard-earned cash for their promise of quality. Fourth is satisfaction, how the date actually went. This is evaluating the relationship based on the real-world experience of consuming the product. And finally, loyalty, the marriage. This is choosing that specific brand intentionally on a regular basis, forsaking all others, and becoming a true vocal advocate for the product. Which brings us to part 4, crowning the beer king. In a really comprehensive study of nearly 400 Thai consumers, researchers asked for their first recall, meaning what's your number one choice when you decide you want to have a drink? And Leo absolutely crushed it. 75.2% recalled Leo first. Chang came in at 18.5% and Cheer at a mere 6.3%. This brilliantly illustrates Leo's total dominance in consumer mindshare. When people are thirsty, their brains automatically just generate the Leo brand. So Leo is the undisputed champ with an incredible 81.5% brand loyalty among its drinkers. Chang is the runner-up. But here is what's really fascinating. The study found consumers actually had a better price perception of Chang. But despite that, Leo's overall brand trust, satisfaction, and perceived quality won the actual purchase anyway. Think about that for a second. Brand equity literally overpowered a better price. Why does a consumer actively choose to spend more money on Leo despite knowing perfectly well that Chang is cheaper? It all comes down to perceived risk reduction. When you have high brand equity, you offer certainty. The consumer knows exactly what they're going to get, and that psychological comfort is just way more valuable to them than saving a few extra baht.
But what about cheer beer? Well, the struggles of the newcomer were very, very real. Despite being pitched as an international quality option, over 35% of the people surveyed didn't even recognize their symbol. They failed at the very first pillar, awareness. And this really highlights the danger of relying purely on international quality as your selling point if that foundational awareness just isn't there. Compounding that, a significant chunk of respondents actively disliked the taste and the feeling of freshness. If they don't know who you are and they don't like the first state, yeah, there is zero chance for loyalty.
Now, I want to highlight a highly surprising fact from this research because it shows just how incredibly complex consumer behavior really is. 55.7%. That is the percentage of respondents who consider ice first when drinking beer. Environmental factors deeply mix with the brand experience. Ice makes it cool and fresh, even if it totally changes the flavor profile of the beer itself. How often do companies design a product absolutely perfectly in a lab, only to completely forget how it's actually consumed in the real world? It's a fantastic reminder that companies have to deeply understand the actual lived experience of their consumers.
And finally, part 5, the power of brands.
So, we've talked extensively today about giant beer corporations, but the crucial point is how we pivot from corporate branding to your own life and career. As Hubert Rampersad notes, everyone has a personal brand, which is inclusive of what one thinks it is and, in reality, what others perceive his or her value to be. The mechanics of corporate beer loyalty directly translate to human reputation in the workplace. Just like Leo and Chang, you have a brand in your community. You project a certain image, but there is very often a dangerous gap between your ideal self, what you think you project, and how others actually perceive your value in reality.
The good news is you can build your own brand equity using the exact same strategies as the world's most successful companies. Here is your action plan. Step 1. Assess your real current image. You have to be brutally honest about how people see you right now. Step 2. Envision your ideal great brand. What exactly do you want to be known for? And step 3. Execute actions to close the gap. Because it's not enough to simply declare what your brand is. If you want to be known as the most reliable person in your entire office, you can't just slap that on a resume. You have to close the gap by consistently delivering quality, day after day, project after project. That is how you build real loyalty and trust over time. Which brings us to our final thought for today. What is your personal brand equity? Think about those 5 factors we discussed. Are people aware of your work? Do they actually like working with you? Are they satisfied with your output? And will they loyally advocate for you behind closed doors?